Why does this house not feel like a home?
You see a lot of black everywhere. You see a lot of stainless steel. The cabinets are run-of-the-mill. The pulls, it's the same pull on absolutely every cabinet, so that's the handle.
When someone goes on Pinterest and they say organic modern design.
Stop, you're gonna make me sweaty. This makes me so mad, yeah. The majority of remodels we get is because they're redoing it. They remodeled in the last 4 to 5 years and they trusted just a guy to go pick out their tile, which is crazy.
Once I started hanging out with people like you, I started learning that I was an idiot too. I ordered your coffee you asked me to get you.
I know, and I see that my size is the biggest out of everybody's.
You saw that?
Uh-huh.
I gotta take care of you. I gotta make sure. I gotta make sure.
Got talls, and I got a, was it a venti?
Yeah, and then Lucky, when we were in the line, Lucky's, he noticed right away that yours was bigger than everybody else's. And he's like, dude, I ordered a venti too. So then we had to tell them, hey, can we switch it? Because we did order a venti for him too.
Oh yeah.
So
Johnny gets the small one?
Yeah, Johnny, why don't you get a venti?
Coffee at the hotel, sir. My second.
Okay. All right. Yeah, but I was gonna tell you, how did you feel? How did you feel yesterday when we made the content?
It was good. I really enjoyed it. I think that your team behind you is like a legit media team. Of course, I had done walkthroughs with mics and stuff before, but it was a very different experience, definitely.
Well, was it? Who was it? Was it Lucky? Because Lucky's such a diva, right? He's a diva.
No, I appreciate it because it's hard. Of course, there's a bunch of people who will do what Lucky does or do what Johnny does. But for that person to also have a creative mindset is hard to find. And you don't know until they're there and you realize they don't have one. And so seeing someone that has a creative mindset too is always helpful.
The thing is, like I told you yesterday, Lucky is special to me. And I don't mean it in a corny way. Like, he's special because he really cares.
Yeah.
And I think that's why the content comes out so well. Because it's like, if he didn't care, it shows that we're a group, we're a team.
Yeah.
And that to me is powerful, because if you don't see something's wrong, or if you do see something wrong, let me know. Like, Johnny sometimes will tell if the audio is bad. Like right now, let's say the audio is bad right now. He's like, stop talking.
Yeah.
I want that. And that's the beauty of having people around you like that. You know, always looking out for you.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's one of the reasons that I feel like I wanted to work with you, because I can taste that you care. I could taste it in your content, in your work. I can taste it. And I think that's what's missing in our industry.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
No, 100%.
Yeah, it's like, it's getting kind of like, as time goes on, I feel like people like us that care are slowly kind of falling off. There's less interior designers that care. It's more about the money.
Yeah.
There's less people that sell flooring. All they care about is the money. And I don't think that's the right way to think. I think it's about the person that you're working with. If it's your client, if it's my client, I care about the end result. I want them to be happy. I want them to be satisfied with whatever I gave them, even if it was just being around me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm happy to know that the vibe yesterday was, and I'm gonna be honest with you, like raw, like honest. And when I first got here, I was like, and this is selfish of me. I'm a very, very selfish person. I am. My wife knows this, okay? And she's watching right now. I realized, like, when I came in here, you were hanging out with
Carly.
Yeah. Shout out to Carly. We love you, bro.
Yes, we love Carly.
So Carly, you guys were doing your thing in here, and you guys are doing the thing that you do, what designers do.
Yeah.
Is styling and moving things around and making sure this pillow's fluffed or whatever. And my guys and I were talking, and I was just like, dude, I can taste the passion. I could see the passion in what she does. But dude, when I saw you, I was annoyed that you were dedicating yourself to that. And I wanted to get to know you.
Yeah.
Because making content together is something you do it's like an art.
Yeah.
Right? It's not just I'm interviewing you and that's it. You know, so I felt like was like, oh, like she's getting on my nerves. Like,
Oh, Roger,
but I
I'm
didn't
so
tell you anything.
sorry.
I didn't tell you anything. I told my guy, I was like, dude, she's getting on my nerves. Like I want to work with her and talk to her just before we make the content because it has to be comfortable.
Yeah.
It has to feel right when we're around each other because in the beginning, even my guys, they know like, dude, like you guys need to loosen up. Once we came in, they'll watch the content. Once we came in from that area to the hallway,
Yeah.
you and I are like our chemistry was like boom.
Yeah.
You don't know it, but I noticed it.
See,
Because-
what I think is interesting is that how we're talking about creatives and how they work and whether people care or don't care. My creative brain, as soon as I got to the project, was make this look as best as I can for Roger and his team. They drove how many hours? 5. And so I'm like, get everything in place. And for your creative side of it, you see the chemistry and stuff like that
Yeah.
because you're more content heavy and I'm more design heavy. So
Yes.
yeah. I'm glad
So-
we're able to mesh. Sorry, I hurt your feelings.
You did hurt my feelings. I was
Like,
like,
aren't you going to come hang out with me? I drove how long?
I really thought like that. And I really did feel like that. I was
See, and I'm running around. I'm like, unplug every air freshener so Roger's cameras don't catch the air freshener, so it looks perfect. So how funny.
so now you get to see how I'm emotional. I'm
Yeah.
emotional, right? But that's how I felt in the beginning. I was like, dang, this is gonna be tough because everyone I've ever worked with, I always try to like get to know them, understand them. And for anyone watching that is gonna make content with us one day
Yeah.
or whatever, the chemistry has to be there.
Oh,
So
for
if
sure.
they don't like you, they don't like me, it's gonna be hard to make content with you or me.
Yeah.
Because you have to understand that she's passionate about what she does. I'm passionate what I do. So I feel like that was tough for me. That was tough. And like I said, it goes back to being selfish. I was very selfish.
What you do and what we did through our walkthrough is a long form of content. Whereas if you needed to only make like a 60-second reel, then someone could put on that face if there's not the chemistry. But long form, you can really tell, 1, if there's chemistry, 2, if the person's bullshitting or not.
Yeah.
And so it's probably a difference between working someone that is a professional in their field versus like a stylist or a decorator or someone whose house looks really pretty, but they wouldn't know how to then go design somebody else's house. So someone that's not truly an interior designer. So I feel like that's kind of a gap you'll probably see in content too.
Okay. So I did want to ask you an introduction question. How did you grow up? Like where did you what was it here in Patterson? I know you told me you kind of live far from here. So this project, what's the name of this project?
The Spanish Riviera.
So Spanish Riviera.
Yeah.
And so did you grow up in Patterson? This is a very small town. I drove in, I was on the 5 freeway with my crew. We're driving and we, out of nowhere, we just pull into a town and it's just a random town just sitting in the, like just all on
Middle
its
of
own.
nowhere.
And then if you drive up or down, there's nothing for like, you won't see a store for like 150 miles.
Yeah. You're like, is summer gonna kill us?
I
Where are
told
we?
you that yesterday. I was like, dude, I think, and then to get even into this house
Yeah.
was like a wave of mountains, a 15-minute drive. And I told the guys like, dude, summer's gonna kill us, bro. Like she's gonna kill us. And I think this is a setup. Like I think someone that don't like me in this industry has finally set me up and I fell in.
I'll take all your spare change and your cameras and run off.
And just disappear. But
Nope.
so tell me, did you grow up in Patterson? Did you grow up? Where'd you grow up? If you don't mind me asking.
The Central Valley of California. So we're right on the cusp of that, where this project is. I currently live about an hour and a half away from this project, but I lived all around. So growing up, and anyone that's from the Central Valley would know all the towns. I lived in Modesto, I lived in Ceres, I lived in Oakdale, and they're all within like either 10 to 30 minutes of each other. And I moved a lot, bounced around a lot. Whereas now, of course, I'm married and I have children. We're settled in Oakdale and I love our town. But no, I'm not from Patterson, but around the area, yeah.
Okay. So growing up though, was it like, did you grow up around interior designers? There has to be. I could see that there's passion in what you do. So I'm trying to understand like where is it that you grew this passion from? Was it?
Yeah.
Were you always an interior designer? Was your dad a contractor? Was your mom a stylist? Like there has to be a storyline to this. You know what I mean? So like how did you fall into it, or did you always do it? You know what I'm saying? I want to know.
So I grew up very humble beginnings. My dad And both my parents still do this today. My dad has a landscaping business. My mom's a house cleaner. So, and what that meant is they're not bosses of people. My dad is mowing lawns all day and he adores it, loves it. My mom cleans houses. And so when we were growing up, I have lots of siblings. A majority of my time, every summer of my entire life until I moved out of my parents' house, I was cleaning houses with my mom. And the houses we would go clean are these big, beautiful homes where every room has an ensuite, very different than how we grew up. And so it made me see the way other people lived, and it makes you want that. Like if you have any tenacity in you, once you're there, you're like, man, I want to live like this. Or like, mom, why don't we have a cookie dish on the counter at all times? And so that's where that came from in a sense, like, okay, I'm going to be successful at some point. I remember being 10 years old and being like, this is a house I'm going to live in now. And the other side of it is I would go into these multi-million-dollar homes and be cleaning their baseboards and be like, that couch is awful. Or like, why didn't they lay it out like this? And it's been my entire life I've been like that. I would stay up at night, like on a little Post-it note, drawing out how I could lay out my room better, that would feel more like it had more flow. And from a very young age, I always loved that. And so I definitely think that it happened from a young age and it just grew and grew and grew until one day I was like, well, actually, I'm actually passionate about it and I'm creative and I know that I do a good job because I did stuff on my own homes to where it kind of just rolled into now the firm I have.
Damn. Like when I hear that story, I feel like that's probably why we connected. Like when you're telling that story, I feel the same feeling you're feeling.
Yeah.
When I go into people's houses and I show off their houses and they get really pretty floors, or they show me their houses, it brings me joy. It really does bring me joy. And it sounds like I said, and I'll keep using this word corny because I'm a man and I can't say these things, right? I feel like that's how I feel about it too. What you said.
Yeah.
I feel and I could hear, like, I could feel your emotion. Like I feel what you're saying. Like I feel that when I show off people's houses, I'm happy to be in these houses. You know what I mean? Like it's not about the money. It's about showing these houses. And I think that feeling you're saying, that you wanted to be around that environment, you want to be around those houses, that's cool. That's so cool. I think that's where the passion is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I've done homes that range in
like 5 million,
yes,
or 500,000 or 200,000.
We've had projects that we just did one room, and we can get into the cost of things later, but let's say that room needed a $30,000 budget to furnish it and paint and stuff like that. To a lot of people, they don't just have $30,000 to just toss away. That project meant so much to that family.
Damn.
And so it meant just as much to me as a project that was a $5 million project where we probably made a lot more money and had a better margin. But those little projects are really where it's at because that's how I grew up. And I mean, the family is well off, not by any means how I was when I grew up, but to even have that much to spend on a room. But I think if I didn't grow up how I did, I wouldn't even touch that project. I'd be like, why would I work with a client that can't do a full home or can't build a brand new house from the ground up? And it's really like the sweet spot is that I care just as much about those as the ones that cost a lot more money.
Well, when we were driving out of here, me and the guys, Lucky and I and Johnny, were driving out of here. And I think it was Lucky. He pointed out, he's like, dude, I'm like, what? He's like, she's really passionate about what she does. And I was like, why? Like, what do you mean? Like, I was like, I'm driving, I'm focused on driving.
Oh, Lucky.
And Lucky was all like,
Lucky.
he was just being honest, right?
Yeah.
And before I get to what Lucky says, dude, you drive fast. Dude, I'm trying to like keep up with her, and she like, I got lost in all the like curves, and I'm like, dude, where'd she go? Dude, where like
Stop,
she just,
my insurance agent might watch this. Don't say that.
good shoot. But
I had somewhere to be.
Did you?
Home. I was like, I want to go take a nap so bad. But that's all it was. But yeah, I probably
Were you
was
tired?
way too fast.
Were you tired after all of what we did?
I have, I mean, it probably has nothing to do with ADHD, but I have ADHD. So I can get really overstimulated. And then after like 5 or 6 hours of being like on and like talking about my craft or being creative, I'm like, okay, I need to just like curl up in a ball and be quiet for just a second. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'll tell you, so we're driving, right? And Lucky tells Johnny, and I was just driving, and he's just like, hey, dude. I'm like, what? He's like, I've never seen someone do this. And I'm like, do what? He's like, dude, she literally like crawled over Johnny and like moved like this glass like over just to move it like 2 inches to the left, dude. And I'm like, no way. He's like, yeah. He's like, she really cares, bro. I was like, yes, well, this is, you, like I said, that goes back to what I'm saying. You love what you do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why I'm here, because I want to work with people like you. That's why I'm here. I want to work with people like you that care about what they're doing. Giving the customer, I'm pretty sure the contractors can feel it. The people you work with, they could feel it, that you care about what you're doing. Like, I'm not here to just, and give you all this love. I'm being honest. I'm telling you the truth. Like, I could feel it. My guys can see it. I'm letting you know that we see it. And I think that the content will speak for itself.
Yeah.
When we release it, they're gonna see what you do.
Yeah.
This house wasn't what you turn it into. It was a completely different house.
Yeah.
We were going over the content with Lucky, and we enjoy playing it back. We're playing it back and we're just laughing. And Lucky's like, dude, you need to tell her that the audio was like didn't work. And it's funny you brought it up. I was gonna throw it into the
My
podcast
nightmare last night. Yeah.
I was gonna throw it into the podcast. I was gonna throw it into the podcast. I was just gonna mess with you and be like, dude, we didn't get the audio. You know what I mean? But you said it, so I was like, I couldn't do it.
Yeah. No, I shot up at like 4:30 in the morning, and I was like, oh, after I had a nightmare that the audio didn't work.
Yeah. So that I was just like, dang. But I was gonna tell you more. So let's dive more into like, what did you do before you were an interior designer? Obviously, you said you were cleaning houses with your mom.
Yeah, as a kid.
So, but obviously, you eventually probably didn't do that anymore. What'd you do after that?
So my very first job ever was a cashier at Kmart. I was 16 years old. So it was like my first like actual corporate job where they had to pay me. Sometimes my mom didn't pay us. We were just cleaning toilets for nothing. So it was my first real job. And
shout out to your mom.
Yeah, shout out to mom. You owe me a lot of money. But yeah, I worked at Kmart, and from there, that was just really through high school. And from high school, I didn't go off to college. I got into a sales job, and I did really well in sales.
What type of sales was it?
Door to door, selling
Really?
people. Yeah. Yeah. And so
that's
was
tough sales. That's hard sales.
Yeah.
Like face to face, knocking on a door, slamming doors in your face.
Yeah. And we had to go to at least 100 doors a day. And so that's most of the time when you're first starting, that's probably 100 no's, 100 doors slamming, 100 people saying, get off my porch. And so I think that it really gave me the way I'm able to speak now to whether it's contractors or cabinet people or my clients. Of course, in those situations, they want me to come to their home. But it definitely teaches you like quick rapport and quick sales and stuff like that. But I think why because I did have a lot of success just with that. And I think it's because like I actually cared. Like I remember my favorite client, or one that I think about a lot when I worked at Comcast, they were older and the wife had Parkinson's. And I knew that I had a product that could help her because she could, at that point, it was new technology. She could press a button on her remote and tell it what channel she wanted to watch. That was like a new thing. Comcast had just came out with it. And I was like, I can actually help them. And so I think that, of course, it's just door-to-door cable sales. And now you can just probably sign up online. But I had people that I truly cared about. And I wasn't just like trying to hurry up and make a buck off them and go to the next house.
So go back to what you're saying. Being in sales, you still cared.
Yeah.
And I think people think that salespeople are really slimy. They think slimy salespeople, they're just trying to make a quick buck. But even you just said it, you cared at that moment. You cared.
Yeah.
So you're literally, it sounds like you're bringing that element along as you're growing older into your career.
Yeah.
So now you're bringing it into interior design.
Role. Well, the next role after that.
Oh, you have another one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I only did that for a little while. And
how long did you do that for, though? How long?
Oh my gosh, a year and a half maybe. And then
how young were you?
18.
18?
18 door to door.
18 years old doing sales?
Yeah.
That is rare.
Yeah.
Because kids usually, they stay home, they don't work, usually.
well, I had no other options, but which I at that age would be jealous. I'd be jealous of the kids whose parents bought them a car or paid for them to go to college, or some people I knew their parents would put a down payment on a house once they turn 18.
Yeah.
And here I am, my parents are like, we're not getting you a car and we can't afford to help you get your license. You can wait till you're 18 years old and you can walk. And so I walked to my job, or back then they didn't have Uber. I'd have to get a taxi if it was raining, and it was just very different. But from door-to-door sales, I went to selling phones. And so I worked at a kiosk in the mall, which, if anything, traumatized me. It was that, because like no one wants to on their porch. No one goes to the mall to buy a cell phone. And everyone that goes by past a kiosk is staring straight forward. It doesn't want to talk to you. So another job that gave me really thick skin. And I worked there for a bit. And from there, I started to get like more serious roles, because I had no college experience, but I could show that I was really good at sales, and talking to all those people that either told me no or I got that yes, that led to me to start doing big interviews with big corporations. And I started working at Grainger, which is a Fortune 500 company. And I was flying to Chicago, to Florida. And so I didn't have the qualifications that someone in that role would have needed, but my experience got me there. And I can plug and play that into being an interior designer too, because I didn't go to college for it. And now that I have my own firm, I see that people coming out of college don't have the experience that I need them to have. And so you don't really need it. But yeah, I went from sales to design, and it really started because right before COVID, like a year or two before, I was remodeling mine and my husband's home and sharing that on Instagram, really just for friends. And then it turns into like, hey, can you help me pick out a couch? Or hey, can you help me pick out a rug? So it started to like roll into that, to where I was no longer at the Fortune 500 company job. I was now having kids and at home and designing our house. And it just rolled into design. And then I got a job working remote for Restoration Hardware, which is a big furniture brand.
Yeah.
And so that really got me into working an actual company job with a design firm.
Okay. So do you think you got a lot of experience? Obviously you were touching it. You were getting your fingers, what is it, getting your feet wet
Yeah.
with that world.
Yeah.
So you getting into with Restoration Hardware is hardware, right?
Yeah.
What were you doing there?
Design. So design, like help in the customer service side of design clients. And so with Restoration Hardware, you can go buy furniture there. You can also use their design side of it to have them furnish whole homes. And for that company, a lot of times it was a client that had already done 6 homes with them. Like, these are very wealthy, well-to-do people. It's like, wow, this is going to be so exciting. It was not. What I learned from there is that, one, I'm really good and I can design and I can be creative and I can make someone's home beautiful. 2, I can put up with a lot from clients. And 3, I learned that I want to do this on my own so I can pick who my client is. Because when you work there, they just give it to you. Like, here, this is who you're working with. And it doesn't matter how they act or if you don't really like their design style and stuff like that, like, you're working with that person. And so it really gave me the push to be like, you know what, I'm just going to do this on my own. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, I know I can be successful going and getting a job anywhere. So, it really pushed me to know that I want to do design and I want to do it for myself.
So I have a question for that exact thing you're saying, but I'm going to apply a little bit about what you're saying in my world. To be able to, what am I saying? To be able to compare what you're saying, to be able to apply it to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what you're saying makes sense. In my world, I've been able to figure out a way to choose my clients too.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that when you have a flooring store, you don't choose who your customers are. They walk in the door and you don't know who's coming through the door.
Yeah.
Have you experienced these customers that are coming through your doors? Of course, you've experienced multiple customers that you either have similar situations or they were a similar customer, or you can kind of know how to help them in their situation, because every customer is different but similar.
Yeah.
They all have, obviously, it's a question about flooring, right? In my world.
Yeah.
And so the one thing I have done that I feel like I have been able to do is choose my customer. And through the content and everything I'm making, everything. This is just distracting me over here.
Eating candy. I hear it, Lucky.
Yeah. So what I've learned is on the social media, I've been able to send a message through the content by being able to share with people how I view certain things.
Yeah.
My opinion, right? So my opinion about how I see the floors or how I see how people manufacture product or how it looks, stuff like that. So I feel like people get to really connect and understand me and understand what I see.
Yeah.
And I've been able to kind of, I guess, like choose the type of customer that I'm going to work with versus the customers that are just looking for the best deal possible.
Yeah.
Which I do have deals at my store, but I really feel like I care about the customer getting the nicest looking stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's one of the reasons why you work with me. I think the floors that I sell, I'm very selective of the type of products I bring into my stores. I make sure that I don't have products that look ugly or stripy or busy or blotchy. Okay. Would you agree?
I would agree. And I think that I might have told you this long ago when we first started talking, is that if you were just in the business of only making money, you would have that $219 or $299 gray stripy floor, because a lot of people that have really low budgets and don't know better are going to come in and buy it. And you can make a bunch more sales than if someone came in and had that budget, but you explain to them what they're going to get if they spend that, and maybe wait a couple months and come back and spend $1 more a square foot. But you're really going to like it, and you're still going to be happy with me in my store after. Versus that $219 gray floor that's super stripy, that's going to look crazy in their house, and they're calling like lumber liquidators after, like, you told me this would look good and it looks terrible and it's already been installed, and they don't care because that salesperson made money off of it. And of course your business needs to make a profit, but you care that they're also happy. And if they're not going to be happy, you'd rather not make the sale. And that's how I think too, is if I can't make a client happy with their budget, I tell them, you know what, maybe we need to wait, or maybe we need to do A, B, and C, but I can't promise you that because you're not going to be happy at the end.
So, Dan, now I got 2 questions on my head. Okay. I do. There's 2 questions I want answered, but because you just brought that up, now it got my head going. There's a type of customer that, and I wrote this note down. There's a type of customer that acts like this. Okay. And you tell me if it goes with what we just finished saying.
Yeah.
Let me see. I got to find it. I wrote it down in my notes here. All right. So I wrote it down. Okay. How do you help a customer like this? I wrote this down. I don't care about your opinion. I like what I like. It's my money. Oh, I'll say it again. Sorry. I don't care about your opinion. I like what I like. It's my money. It's my house. Give me what I want. How do you deal with a customer like that?
Well, the easiest answer, and honest, is that they would never make it past the initial phone call, because my intuition is like on it. I would see that that's not someone who wants an interior designer. That's someone who wants someone to go pick up the tile they like. You want an assistant for you to design it. And that's just not what we provide. And so they would just never become a client. But there has been times in my intuition, and even as soon as last week, that my intuition with a client told me that it wasn't a good idea and that they would end up to be that client without them even having to say those specific things. But my want to make them have a really pretty house and make them be happy with their home the way I wanted to be when I was little kind of took over. And so they start to do little things as the project goes on to show that they don't really want a full service designer. And maybe
what does that mean? What does that mean? I don't think people understand what that means. Full service designer. So you're saying that, because another thing that I wrote down that I feel like is what people send in my DMs all the time, and they say in my comments is, Roger, I don't need to hire an interior designer. This is why I have you. I'm not an interior designer. I'm a hard surface designer is what I tell them.
Yeah.
What do you think?
About someone that thinks they don't need one?
Like let's say that someone sends a DM or a comment, or maybe someone wants to work with me because they think that they just all they got to do is work with Roger Dodger on the flooring factory. I don't have to hire an interior designer like you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So do you think that customer's right? They don't have to hire you. They just got to work with Roger Dodger.
I mean, it depends on the customer because I don't want to be self-inflating, but if it was me, I wouldn't need to hire one because I know I have that creative side and I've been in the industry and I know. But there's a lot of people to them, their designer is Pinterest. And we could get all into that, but just because they have...
Let's get in it. Because what you're saying
those
is
are the people that feel
powerful.
they don't need one.
Yes,
They're like, why would I
yes.
need one when I have these 20 images collected off Instagram that I really like, and I could just copy this kitchen and this living room and this bathroom. And of course, as designers, we pull inspiration from everything, but there's so much more than the picture on the screen that goes into making the room. And yeah, some people, they enjoy to do that on their own, and our opinion might be that their living room could have looked way better, but if they're happy with it, that's another part of it too. They're happy with it. They should never be a designer's client because the designer and them won't be happy.
So it sounds like the world of social media right now is filled with DIYers, people that pull inspiration from Pinterest and copy and paste. Okay, so you're not that, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And we've talked about this before. We've had this conversation on the phone.
Yeah.
When someone goes on Pinterest and they say organic modern design.
Yeah. Stop, you're going to make me sweaty. This makes me so mad. Yeah.
Okay. So when I see someone tell me, and look, I've made that mistake too. I'm going to admit it. Once I started hanging out with people like you, I started learning that I was an idiot too. And I'm not trying to say that they're idiots. I'm saying I was naive. And I didn't know what I was doing at that moment. I didn't know that I was making a mistake. I didn't know that. But along the way, I started learning that I need to work with interior designer. And that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
I have to work with interior designers because they know why they designed that.
Yeah.
They're the designer.
Well, the world of Pinterest isn't real. So let's say, because we all know about algorithms and that if I type in organic modern on Google, Pinterest, Instagram, it's going to show me a different 30 images than if you typed it in. It's going to show things that you've looked at in the past and either liked or saved. It's going to show you different. And that's because someone just wrote organic modern on a kitchen and posted it or put it on Pinterest and they decided that's what it looks like. But it doesn't mean that it's actually that.
So you're saying the person that created that image isn't an interior designer. They could just a regular person collect a bunch of photos and put it in this image and upload it on Pinterest, and that person isn't an interior designer. These are just ideas of what they think organic modern is.
Yes, and there could also be an interior designer that stuck organic modern on a picture and put it on Pinterest because it would get a lot of traction because that might be like a hot trending design.
Keywords.
Exactly. And so that doesn't mean that that's what it actually is. And the only reason this becomes a problem is if, let's say, a client comes to you and asks for organic modern, and you've talked to me a million times and you know what that actually means. But to them, it means something totally different because their phone showed them what was really probably like farmhouse rustic or farmhouse modern. And so now they're not happy. And the options you're giving them, they're like, what the heck? This isn't what I thought.
Yeah.
And so the world of Pinterest is a slippery slope. And what I always tell people or clients to fix it, because we will look at clients' saved Pinterest boards and stuff to get like an idea of what they like. I'll never have them just tell me, Summer, I love Spanish revival design or I love modern contemporary. Because again, they probably only know that term from social media. And the majority of the time it's wrong. So we say, okay, let's look at 20 collective images. Don't want to hear your kind of taglines for them. I want to see how many have light floors. Most of them have light floors. You probably like that. How many have dark countertops? How many have V-grooves in the cabinets? And so we look at little things like that are more specific that the regular person wouldn't know until that door gets installed and they actually don't like it. But now they've spent all this money on cabinets and they thought they're getting organic modern and now they have a traditional door. And so you don't know until you know. And that's why I think anyone that is going to do a major remodel needs a designer of some sort. It doesn't have to be me. Have someone help you. Because if you're only using Pinterest, it's going to end up to where at some point you're going to have to call a designer anyways.
I want to talk about that post that you posted where it says,
contractors are not interior designers and interior designers are not contractors.
I want to bring this up because this, I feel like, is a huge problem in our industry. Okay? In my world, this is the problem. And you tell me if I'm wrong. This is the problem right now. You have a contractor, and I'm talking in my world. You tell me your world, okay? You have a contractor that goes and buys floors at a flooring store like mine. He comes in and chooses the floor for the homeowner. Okay? Okay?
Yeah.
He pays for the material, takes the floor to the house, installs it. Homeowner's on vacation, whatever. The problem I'm seeing here is that the homeowner's trusting the contractor because the contractor does the flooring installation, and the homeowner thinks that the contractor, because this is what he does for a living, he knows that it's going to look good in the house. Would you agree that that's one of the biggest problems here?
Yeah.
That's what I see on my side.
The majority of remodels we get is because they're redoing it. They remodeled in the last 4 to 5 years, and they trusted just a guy to go pick out their tile, which is crazy. But yes, it's a huge problem.
Am I crazy for saying what I'm saying? Same thing goes for cabinets.
Yep.
Same thing goes for a fabricator. I think the problem here is, and I'm not bashing the people that do the work, they should be working with an interior designer.
Yep.
You have to work with an interior designer. Interior designers, if you guys are watching, interior designers have their reasons why they did what they did. They have intention.
Yep.
You have intention why you made this house the way it is. You did this for a reason. You didn't just install these floors, install these cabinets, and then say, let's go to the next job and tell that homeowner, because let's say you're working with the designer that day. Let's say that you're the flooring contractor. This is what I see as the problem. I'm going to point it out. I see what's happening. The contractor works with a designer like you, does a really nice project, saw the house that they worked on, goes to the next project because he picked up another job because obviously he gets work. But the next project, he doesn't have a designer. He says, oh, the last house had these floors and these cabinets, but they're not looking at all the details that went into that project. All he sees are the floors, the cabinets, and the countertops, and says, yeah, that looks good, and you're going to love it because the last customer loved it, but doesn't see the details that the designer put in to make it that oomph, that wow, that whoa, that looks nice.
Yeah.
Right? So do you think that's what's happening? That's what I see on my side.
100%. No, that is something that, like I said, has been a huge pain point for clients. And these are really expensive things. I mean, aside from actually buying your home, remodeling it and furnishing it is probably the next most expensive thing you'll ever do. And so it makes me sad. And I only know this because I've seen it go wrong time and time again, that a lot of people get so excited just to put a new floor or to paint something, or that they finally have enough money to do cabinets, that they find a cabinet guy and he's available and they show them the picture and he says, oh yeah, I know exactly what you want. And then their kitchen gets installed and they're like, whoa, that is not the tile I wanted. But bless his heart, he's just a guy. And he thought that that's what it looked like from the photo. And so you really have to be so intentional and slow down and get help. You can hire designers that only help you pick materials and then they leave. When I first started, that's the kind of projects we did because I would just take whatever I could. But there's someone that can help you really within any budget. And of course, you don't always want to get the cheapest designer and you don't always want to get the cheapest floor installer and stuff like that. But you really need some sort of help or it's going to end up to where you're not happy with it.
What type of credentials do you think an interior designer should have for the homeowner to be able to say, oh, this is a great interior designer. This person has all the credentials I need to get the best design in my house. Is it 4 years of experience or is it 4-year degree or is it both? Like what should someone look out for?
So a little note is that I've been doing this for so long and not one client ever has asked me for my credentials. Not once. And there's a lot of things you have to go to college for, right? If you want to be a doctor, you have to go to college. If you want to be a nurse, you have to go to college. But if you want to be a designer, you don't need it at all. And the majority of applications we get that they have a degree and no experience, or they have a degree and some experience, but they don't have the qualifications that actually matter weekly, at least. And it stinks because they spent all that time, they thought that that's what they had to get because college taught you that that's what you have to do, or Googling it told you to be an interior designer, you need this. But anyone I hire has to have AutoCAD. And
what is that?
Just like a software for building out cabinets or home plans or construction documents. They don't teach you that when you become an interior designer. And I think that that's criminal, honestly, because they got a degree that they learned what type of fabrics are called or what type of iron should be on X, Y, and Z, but they didn't actually teach them stuff, qualifications that you need. And so I don't have AutoCAD experience, but I can design a house. I need anyone I hire to have that because
Is that it right there?
yes.
Johnny, is that it?
Uh-huh. And so they don't teach you that in school unless you become an architect, which is very different from getting an interior design degree. I need someone to have SketchUp experience, which SketchUp is 3D modeling software. I don't know that because I don't have the time to learn that course, but you also don't learn that in college at all unless you're becoming an architect. And that's way more schooling, and people don't know that that's what you need. And so anyone I hire has that experience. And you don't need to learn AutoCAD or SketchUp by getting a degree either. You could go to a SketchUp course that teaches you 3D modeling. You can go to an AutoCAD class at MJC, which is local to here, community college. And so you don't have to get a degree at all. But a lot of people want to be a designer until they actually go to do it. And they're like, actually, like, I really like scrolling on Pinterest and I like pretty things, but I'm not creative like this. And they don't know that until they went to college. And so what I always tell anyone that applies with me or is interested in interior design is to start doing it. Make $100 material sale. Like you don't have to make a bunch of money.
Yeah,
Get
throw yourself in the
there.
industry, you're saying. Throw yourself in. You try it, taste it. If you like it, great. If you don't like it, there's a lot of people, I'm not to cut you off. There's a lot of people that do that in my industry too. They're contractors and they want to jump into the field. They want to jump into the flooring industry. I've been in this industry since I was 18 years old. And I love this industry. And I'm going to protect this industry till I die. I'm saying it with passion because the truth is this industry you could destroy the way this industry looks. Because everyone thinks that every flooring brand or every flooring company out there is all the same. It's not. There's a lot of garbage out there.
Yeah.
A lot. You would know that.
Yep.
There's a lot of cabinet companies that are garbage. There's a lot of, places that sell garbage countertops, garbage cabinets, garbage flooring. You're always going to find the lowest of the low in quality of anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel that that's one thing that why I have a passion for this is just because there's too many people, like a contractor, for example, that just popped up, says, well, why am I giving my business to a flooring store? Let me just open my own flooring store. But they don't know all the things you have to know about having a flooring store.
Yeah.
Like, just because you installed the floor doesn't mean you know how to sell the floor or know why it looks the way it does.
Or what each client actually needs, why they need laminate or why they need LVP. Yeah.
Yeah. So those are things that I feel very passionate about. I feel like that's one thing that is kind of really disrupting the industry because there's too many people thinking, I'm going to open a flooring store so I can make the profit on the store and the install.
Yeah.
I don't even do install. Can you believe that? I don't even do install in my stores. You know why? Because I want the contractor to be focused on his installation and I want him to warranty the installation and I will warranty the materials that I sell in my store. I want to make sure that you can't do both. You can't do both.
See, in my industry, I see the same thing happening where a contractor adds design to their service. So you'll see, you can look up a builder and it'll say like builders and design. And some of them actually have a designer there, but that doesn't also mean that it's a designer that clients specifically going to want or knows how to design in that style. People think they're saving money because they're like, oh, it's all wrapped into one. You're paying the same regardless, honestly. And usually with a builder, there's a crazy markup. And so, yeah, I see contractors add design to their services to try to like make a markup on that or have control over material costs, which is a whole nother thing we can get into. But yeah, I see the same thing happen.
I've worked with builders in the past, and I feel like builders, they're in the business. They're in the right business, right? Building houses, marking up product, and I respect it. I do. I respect it. But I feel like what you're saying is correct. I feel like if you're going to be a builder, be a builder. Don't be a designer too. Mm-hmm. Because it's just you're just adding that designer in there just so you can give them that design feel. Like when I'm pretty sure you've worked with track homes, right? Like when they're doing, so there's a designer. If you guys don't know, when you're working with a builder that's building 50 houses or 100 houses, they have a what is it called? It's called something. It's like a studio, like one of the
model home.
Model home.
Yeah.
And they have this area where they have all their designs and stuff like that.
Options.
All their options, and it's like, what is it called? It's called something. Forget it. Point is, they have like someone they hired that's getting paid, let's say $25 an hour, and that's all they do. They probably a retired designer, or maybe they used to sell houses. I don't know. I've experienced it. I never met a designer like you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when I know what it feels like to go into a like a little design studio that they have there in their model home, and it doesn't feel like a design. I feel like it's more like buying a car.
Well, they plop a binder in front of you,
right?
And you go, yep, and dust flies off of it, and they're like, you can pick between A, B, and C, and it's all going to be beautiful. And people don't know that you can only pick between A, B, and C because those are the options that give the builder the most of a profit margin. And so, no, anyone that is going to, even in a model home, get the very base and save
That's your recommendation to anybody buying a house.
Get the base and hire a designer and fix it after. If you really want that new build.
Powerful.
Whereas really, I would tell someone if they really wanted good advice to not get a new build.
Don't upgrade. Don't upgrade anything is what you're saying. Don't upgrade anything. Just buy it with the carpet, the linoleum that they're gluing down in the kitchen, and upgrade your house. And I agree the same. I can give you that advice too.
Yeah.
Just go buy the flooring. You're going to know. Don't let them brainwash you and tell you that this is the best. It's your dream house.
Yeah.
Do this because this is the time to do it. It's only going to add $30 to your payment. Am I wrong?
No, that's exactly what they do. And what happens is with those new build tracks, or even just any contractor in general, and I'm not knocking it, I have contractors I work with that are lovely, but what happens is when you go to them first and you haven't done your design, what they're doing is they'll say, okay, we're going to include design in your overall fee, but you have a $5 per square foot tile budget, and you have your slab can cost no more than $1,300 a slab. Those are very low budgets, but you're spending $180,000 on your kitchen, and you're like, what the heck? Where's it all going? And it's all going in their markup. And so they're keeping your design super basic, but you're paying what people pay for my kitchens. But what happens is when you have a designer, any tile we pick out, any floor we choose, any hard surface along with the styling, we pick and purchase all of it for the client. And when it comes to tile, they're ordering tile from the person who made it, and they're not getting 5 markups along the way. And so they have a beautiful tile in their kitchen that they spent maybe $6 a square foot on, that builder, if they went right to him, got rid of me, he would have said, oh, that's way too expensive because it's going to cost you $30 a square foot. When truly hiring a designer, yes, costs money, but they're going to save you money on stuff like that and make sure that your kitchen's pretty. So get your design done first, take that design, all of your materials that you want, then take it to a builder because they can't add a markup on any of it. And now you have the $180,000 kitchen, and their labor was maybe $60,000.
Damn, you're dropping nothing but game to these guys. You're telling them how to do it. And I do the same thing. I tell people the truth. They walk into my store and say, a bunch of DMs. What am I talking about? My comments, my DMs. I get all kinds of people in my DMs saying like, Roger, I'm building a house. I'm pretty sure you too, right?
Yeah.
Because we're on social media together.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we met, right?
Yeah.
Social media.
Mm-hmm.
So Instagram. Was it Instagram?
Yeah.
It was Instagram. So I get a lot of DMs of people saying that. They'll say like, oh, Roger, I just bought a house and they're building it right now. It's just dirt. And then they ask me things like, I just want the floor to be safe. I want the cabinets to be safe. I want the countertops to be safe. These are the products that the builder's giving me. And all I get in my DMs is photos of them being in the design room that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And you could see like everything. I could tell because I know I've been in those environments, and I'm like, oh damn, they're in there right now. Like, Roger, am I making the right decision? But like, I still think that I have this photo that I wanted to show you. I think I showed it to you. Even if they do take my advice, okay? A lot of people watch my content. I've grown a lot of followers. A lot of people love me. A lot of people hate me. Great, right? But there is a kitchen I want to show you that I showed you before. And if people take my advice, even if they took Roger Dodger's advice, their kitchen's going to fall flat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I love and adore you, but yes, because
I want you to
there's
tell me
another
that.
level to it.
Tell me that if they listen to me, tell me that. Tell the viewer, if you listen to Roger, your kitchen's gonna fall flat.
stop going to Roger and asking him what cabinets to put in with the floor. And because so much more goes into it than that. Because even when they're in the new builds design office where it feels great and they have the 3 different crown options, that designer doesn't know what style sofa they want to get someday, or what kind of lighting they like, or what kind of drapery they're going to have on the windows. That means that they should have picked B instead of C. And so there's so much more that goes into it. And yes, while initially, I think we spoke because I'll have a lot of flooring companies or cabinet companies or a lot of, I don't want to say vultures on Instagram, but everyone wants to get in with a designer and market with a designer. And so I won't name some flooring companies, but I had a few reach out to me and I'm like, well, that seems like a good idea in a way because I want to have a go-to for clients and a go-to for my audience that reaches out to me and can't afford a designer or just doesn't want one, but needs somewhere to go that I trust. And so instead of saying like, oh, I don't know, because anything I source for clients is wholesale. I can't give them that. You have to be a tradesman to purchase from them. I was like, well, Roger sells the products I put in clients' homes and I trust him and he can give them information and they can watch 20 videos and not have to ask me that. And so having someone that I could work with that I trusted, that has great reviews, obviously people love going to your store and they trust you, made me trust you. Yeah.
So, like I said, I'm going to say it again. Yes, you could take my advice. And I'm asking you, look, I'm not a designer. I've said this. I just posted something literally 2 days ago. I'm not a designer. Now, do I have some sense, in your opinion?
Yeah.
Do I have a sense of what I'm saying? Am I wrong for what I'm saying?
No, not at all.
So the advice I'm giving is good advice.
Yes, to the masses. So there's kitchens that are all going to look a lot alike. But there are people that might take that advice and think they're going to get like a custom designed kitchen, but it's still really pretty, but it's not really what they wanted. And so if someone doesn't care so much about that and the top of their list of what matters to them is getting it done quickly or getting a cabinet that's ready to assemble and goes in quickly, that's something you could pick out because all they want is a shaker door. And that's all they care about.
So that kitchen right there, why does it fall flat? If they took my advice, that's how their kitchen's going to look, right? A lot of people are going to say, that's a really pretty kitchen, right? It's a nice kitchen. We're not here to say anything negative or bash this kitchen or whoever designed it. But why doesn't it feel like the home we're in right now? Why does it fall flat?
Oh gosh, the person whose kitchen this is going to find us. Be like, Summer, you're the worst.
No, we don't have to. No, we're not going to bash it.
I'll tell you.
Just tell me. So in the next question, we're going to have to jump into the next questions I have. So this is going to just show me a little bit of what's missing and why they need to hire you. So why does this house not feel like a home?
So this doesn't look like a kitchen maybe you would see me do or any other luxury designer do, is because you see a lot of black everywhere. You see a lot of stainless steel. The cabinets are run of the mill. The pulls, it's the same pull on absolutely every cabinet. So that's the handle. And so to get like a bespoke custom kitchen, you have to do, I usually do 2 to 4, maybe even sometimes 2 to 5 different hardware options in a kitchen. Change it everywhere. It looks like their butler's pantry back behind the kitchen is exactly the same as the actual kitchen.
Yeah.
For what reason? Only because it was probably quick and they were able to buy all the same cabinet and they knew it was safe. And so this is a very safe kitchen because while it is pretty, there's nothing that's going to start a conversation about it or that someone's going to be like, wow, I want to do that in my house. It's a pretty kitchen. And if I stayed at an Airbnb that looked like that, I'd be like, oh, this is great. Yeah. But if it was my client's home and they came to me, we would change, I don't want to say everything because that's terrible, but to give it that custom feel, it needs to look way different than that.
Okay. So I like that you were honest with me, and I'm pretty sure they're going to appreciate that you're being honest. But I want to know, what's the difference between a designer, so interior designer, a decorator, and a stylist? What's the difference?
Yes.
Because you do them all.
Yes. An interior designer does all of that.
Okay.
So if someone calls himself just a stylist, from my understanding, is that they'll come into your home and change out your pillows, change out the decor on top of things, stuff like that. There are interior designers that have stylist positions that, okay, you're going to come in and you're going to take care of that, because styling an entire home is probably where the bulk of our full service projects go. But regardless, that's what a stylist does. An interior decorator is what I've felt on Instagram has become the person that's not actually working at a design firm as a stylist and not actually interior designer. They might have some sort of creative sense and know what goes well together, but it's really, I feel, and someone that calls himself an interior decorator is just someone who does well on Instagram and posts pretty pictures and does pretty things, but they're not going to go into a house and be able to draw a house from the ground up and take into mind the architecture and where the house is and the direction the house faces and why we picked the 6-inch base instead of the 7, which had to do with the ceiling height. Like, they don't know all those little things that go into a home build. And not to discount that there's a lot of creative people that call themselves that, but they're not someone that can build from the ground up or go in and do a full remodel. But at some point, that's what I was. I was just showing my own home on Instagram and probably was technically an interior decorator because I could pick pretty things until I got in the industry and started getting jobs and doing remodels or new builds or whatever it was. Then I 100% am an interior designer right now, and I own my own firm and I have employees, and there's people that are my employees that can do AutoCAD like I can't do, but I am an interior designer and I have that experience. Versus if someone was just a stylist or called themselves an interior decorator, I feel like the difference is that they don't have that.
What is a client going to get if they hired you?
As far as like what
service are you going to give them? Yeah.
Yes. So there's interior designers who do e-design or just material only packages. And like I said before, I started as that got me to where I am now, but we only do full service. Now, a lot of people will DM me that see that on our Instagram or our website and be like, what does that mean? And so it's, for some reason, has been a mystery in the industry, but full service means that from the beginning of the project, before construction starts, to the very end, when we set down the final candle in your living room, we cover all of that, from the floor to the ceiling, the drapes, everything. And so what that also means is in my firm's case, and I can't speak to everyone, is that we have full creative control. And I sit with a client and I learn what they like and what they don't like and how they live. What sports do their kids play? Do they have a pool? What kind of flooring would they need because of it? Stuff like that, to where I learn and can tailor the design to them. But at the end, we have creative control. And that means that they're not going out and picking tile. They're not going to pick the sofa. And of course, they have a part in it. But full service means that you don't have to worry about that. Go work your 40 to 80 hour a week job. Go focus on that. My entire job is your house right now. And a lot of people don't have the time to do that or don't have the experience. And so full service is just that we cover all of that. And from the beginning of the construction or remodel to the end, we're also furnishing it. And so we don't do any designs that are just material. If we have a client come into our firm, it's because they want their entire house done. They never have to buy another piece of decor again unless for some reason their style changes dramatically, but their house is completely done and finished, and they spent all the money they're going to spend, and in 6 months they don't have to go to Target and buy a new decor book. Everything is there and your house is finished. So that's what full service is. And so when I started, I learned that I could pick out the materials and it would be really pretty, but the kitchen is still flat like you see in that one you pulled up. Is because it's not styled. And so that's another reason. But that's the problem, is it's really pretty, but then what? There's other layers that go to it. Whereas when we walk through the Spanish Riviera project, it feels like, whoa, is because every pillow in there is picked with intention. There's different color tones spread throughout the room, to where it feels like, oh, a designer did this. And so if I was to only pick out someone's rug, they might love that rug, and then they look around like, well, I'm still unhappy with the rest of the room. So while I can make quick bucks off of doing just material designs or e-designs and stuff like that, not only do I want full service projects because they're great and it's going to look pretty, I also want to end with that person being very happy with their home. And if you do just partial designs, I learned that they're really not.
If you can explain to me an experience you had with a client that was like the most horrific experience you ever had, what would it be?
Oh, gosh. To start that off, every client I've ever had, great, and experiences that weren't so great, my contract got longer every single time. When you're first starting out, you see like, oh, wait, I need to protect myself here, or they need to understand this part of a process. So as you go on, you learn. But probably the worst experience I had that just made me feel yucky, and it's really to no fault of the client, is because while we are full service and all that is explained, and they get their investment guide from us and their contract that explains what we do, what they can expect from us, what not to expect from us, what we expect from them, and what not to expect. I've got it all laid out. And there's people who don't care. And once you get further into the project, and we've already designed their entire home, and we go into purchasing, they're like, actually, I'm going to reverse Google image search the sofa, and I'm going to reverse Google image search the light and find something that looks like that, but it's cheaper. Even though, Summer, you designed it within our budget that is agreed to in the contract, we're going to pick cheaper versions of everything, but we still want you. We still want you to do all of it and style it. That would probably be the biggest nightmare. It's because, like I said, when we do a home, we picked that sofa in that tone and that length for a reason. We picked X, Y, and Z for the
So
pillows and rugs.
you're saying that the client would every time. So you already had the contract written up,
Yeah.
and the client goes and finds a couch that's $800 less. It doesn't have all the details or all the the correct shade of whatever you chose.
Yeah.
And so they're just pretty much like kind of cutting corners and budgeting
Yes.
from what the original contract was.
Yes. And so, for example, if we're doing a full home furnishing that's like a 4-bedroom house, we're doing all the bedrooms, kitchen, dining room, that's going to be land anywhere from $160,000 to $180,000. And big cost, right? But we're buying everything, the blankets, the pillows, the coasters, your whole entire house is done. And that's just what it costs. And of course, there's budgets per room, but we tell the client, expect to spend this. We're going to try to come in under that and make it beautiful. We're not always trying to spend your top budget. Expect this, and when we come in lower, you'll be happy. And so what happens is they had that parameter, and they're like, actually, but we could just reverse Google image search, and I could find a sofa that looks kind of like it, but I can get it at Target for way cheaper. And so that's what happened to us. And that's probably the biggest nightmare, is that I have to explain, like, it's not going to be the same end result, and it's not a project that we can be a part of, because now we're stamping essentially my firm and my brand on that's not pretty. And of course, there's always things you can get for cheaper, but we already did that when we made the design. We didn't pick the $6,000 couch. We picked the $2,300 couch to lower your overall budget, and it's still really pretty. And then they take that one and get one that's maybe half the cost and looks nothing like it. And in the end, they're not going to be happy with it. And so that's probably the biggest nightmare.
But like, I guess my question is, I don't mean to expose you. I want to open that up. What do you tell them? What do you tell them when they're in that situation? Do you talk face to face with them?
Yeah.
Do you, like, when I was telling you earlier how I was so upset that we couldn't communicate, how did you tell them, like, dude, you can't change that? Like, we just did this. How explain that to me?
Well, at first, it was and would be a very soft conversation, because how I explained to you, it's not going to look the same.
You're too nice, Summer. You're too nice.
Well, whenever it goes, and then in this specific situation, they don't care. They're like, it's cheaper and it can come here quicker instead of waiting 8 weeks, or whatever the case was. But they're still not going to be happy with it, and they're still not listening. And so then I have to go to, okay, well, our contract says. And that's the worst. I absolutely hate doing that. And I can count on one hand over the years I've been doing this, I've ever had to bring up a contract. But that was also the first time in my many years a client ever did that. Okay. Because we're so transparent and explain the process and explain really the value we bring and why we have creative control. And of course, your opinions come into it. And that is a part of the design, and we're within your budget. And so as long as we're within budget and you like the room, it's done and we go into purchasing. But yes, that nightmare client was like, well, we can copy it and just get dupes of all of it and make it cheaper. And that's not the same design. And that's not what we do. Because anything they order now comes to us, and they're going to have an install day where we bring it all in. We bring all the trash out. Yeah. But what they wanted to do is order it from a retailer online and ship it to their home, and then just have me come unbox it and set it up. And that's just not a part of the process.
So it sounds like they just want to use your design and then just try to Mickey Mouse everything else.
In the contract, it's technically steal intellectual property, which is, again, scary to get into with a client, because I care. Their house is a part of my soul, which sounds dramatic, but we did all of this within their budget. But it's also a pretty house that reflects how they live in their family. And so when they take it and try to just like reverse image search it and make it be done cheaper, it's not the same. And now you've discounted me and our service we provide. And I'm sad, because I know you're going to be sad at the end and you're not listening to me. So yeah, that's definitely the biggest nightmare.
Wow. Well, I was going to ask you one more thing before I forget. So let's tell them you're obviously opening up a studio.
Yeah.
And can you please tell them where it's at?
Yeah, in Oakdale, where I live. 2 minutes from my house. So it's great. I do have young kids, so it all works out. And I've waited until I've been this successful in a way to where it makes sense and to where my firm can one afford it. And I feel like my town I live in needs it, but also my audience online. Like it's the perfect time. I have a lot of people wanting to maybe shop the homes I create and stuff like that, that I can't send them links because the client paid for us to design it, so I can't share that. And so what we're doing is creating not only a design space for clients to come and we have our presentations or meetings with their contractors and stuff, but it's also a retail store. And so the goal is to at some point be e-commerce for people to order kind of our brand and our aesthetic for their own home. But to start off with, it's going to be a retail shop for the town I live in and anyone that drives to us. So if you make the trip to us, tell me how far you drove and we'll make sure to compensate you for that, give you a little discount. But yeah, it's going to be just a space to where people can come in and shop for their home, or they'll also see flooring samples. We have our full wall of flooring or tile. And so just because they're not going to be a design client per se, we can still help them pick out just a flooring. And then I can be like, you know what, my friend at Roger at Flooring Factory is going to help you and you can order from him. And you, of course, would have the customer service side of stuff like that, but help guide them to make those little decisions that right now my firm just can't do because we are full service and I don't really have the bandwidth to help just with one-off orders. But that's the goal with the studio, is to give our audience and just local people somewhere to go to do that.
Yeah, a studio to be in.
Yes,
That's
because
cool.
it does pain me to see people be unhappy. And you see it all the time. Someone put in a cheap stripy floor and they weren't happy with it. And so it does personally affect me. And so just giving just another kind of like line for people to get help that you don't have to have $1 million budget like a full service client might need to have. You can go into our studio and get help. And I'm just really excited to provide that.
I look forward to making more content with you.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure my crew had a lot of fun. Lucky being
Johnny,
a
did you
diva.
have fun?
Johnny.
He smiled.
Johnny's having fun. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm very grateful, very thankful that you let me work with you. And I feel like we'll definitely be working together more and more as time goes on. But I do want to stop by your studio. I'll definitely come back into town.
Yes, please.
And I think we'll make some content again because I feel like the content was just fun. It was just what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I told you, it wasn't acting. This isn't acting. It's literally you being you, me being me. And like I said, I had a lot of fun, and I'm grateful. To be honest, I'm very grateful and thankful that we get to work together. You know. So
no, I think we talked on this before, and anytime we spoke on the phone, it's been like, I'll go to hang up and it's like an hour and 51 minutes. I'm like, oh my gosh,
straight up,
Roger
like,
just talked
that's
forever.
Exactly the truth.
But the reason why I'm here working with you and why I was attracted to working with you in the first place in your company and your media team is that there's heart behind it. Lucky really cares. Johnny really cares. You really care about what you're talking about. And so when you come to the studio and shoot content, it's not just so we have something to post. It's to share it to people who it might help. And so there's more behind it than just kind of the clicks and the viral and stuff like that. It's really like we actually want to help people. And so that's what I've really appreciated about you guys.
That's sweet. You hear that? Man, I'm about to cry right now, bro.
That's why I got a venti.
All right. All right. On that
Nice.
note, I just want to say again, thank you for watching and thank you for being here. We'll see you guys later. Peace.
Peace. I can't believe that was an hour.
Yeah, dude.
That's what happens to us on the phone.
That's it.
Thank you, Roger.
Yeah.